Welcome back. In this video, we're going to use all of those beautiful concepts that we just had to go through in a few lines of code, all condensed together. And that's why I thought it would be a good idea to really put them into a separate video. I already had started recording this video and then I realized that there's no way it's going to make sense to put all of those in one little video without explaining them. So we are inside of our shopping list, and in the shopping list app composable, and there we have this lazy scope shopping list item inside of our lazy column, right? So this lazy column is basically a column that contains a infinite amount or indefinite amount of columns, or basically on top of each other, or items on top of each other. And in our case, I just defined a shopping list item so that we would see something on the screen, right? And didn't pass any details about what should happen when we click on the edit button, and neither when we clicked on the delete button. However, that's something that I'm going to change now, and that is inside here. So let's get rid of this thing. Now we need to think of or about a particular point. So we need to check, are we currently editing or are we not? So you can see the state of an item inside of our list here can either be that it is unedited or that it is while editing, or is editing or is not editing. So we have this Boolean, right, that the list item can have. Now, while it's editing, so is editing is true, this user interface should be visible. So what is this user interface? Well, it's the shopping item editor. And in the other cases, so else, this one should be visible. So the shopping list item. So now let's go ahead and set that up by checking if item, and actually to get item. So the thing is, we have this it, right? It is this shopping item. We get, it's grayed out here, but it says it shopping item. Now, if we want to use it as a keyword, we can do so. We can, however, also give it a name, but then we have to use minus greater than sign. So now we can use item instead of it, and it will be a little more descriptive. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say if item is editing. So if the item that we're currently looking at out of the list of items that we have, we can have like 10 items, 20 items, 100 items inside of our list. Out of the list that we are currently displaying inside of our lazy item scope, so inside of the visual list items that are currently available and visible on our screen, even though we might have 100 in the list, but we're only displaying this lazy item scope, which is maybe 10 or 20 items, however many fit into the screen, and then it will maybe calculate one above and one below just in time, so that when we are scrolling it directly can display it. But otherwise it will get that out of this list, out of this lazy item scope, and we're just saying if the item that we're currently looking at is in the editing state, then we want the shopping item editor composable, which is the composable that we set up ourselves a few videos back, right? And then there is this other composable, which is the shopping list item composable, which we created many videos back. And that is the alternative that we want to display. So in the else case, so that means while we're not editing, that's when we want to display the shopping item. Actually, shopping list item. Shopping list item, which is this composable, right? You can see that here, Zibble. You probably cannot see the comp. So this is the composable. Now we have this problem where we need to pass an item and the onEdit click event. And here we need to pass the item and the onEdit complete event. So the item is easy. We can just pass item, which is this item here. But the shopping list item, that's a little different. Well, here we're going to take care of that later on. Let me just comment this out for now. Let's focus on this onEdit complete. So what should happen once we're done editing? Now you can see onEdit complete gives us a string and an int. So we need to take those, and how we're gonna do that is by using edit name and edited name, I think is the better name, like so, comma, edited quantity. And then I'm using a lambda here again. I'm going to say as items dot map. So now we're mapping, and this one should be like so. So the new as items will be the old as items mapped where we are modifying items, where we say copy what we're getting and set is editing to false. So that basically is saying the item that we're currently editing, we want to make sure that that item now is going to say don't edit anymore. So is editing going to be set to false. That's what should happen once we click on this edit complete, basically on the button that says, hey, we're done editing. So that's why we set that to false, because we're done editing. So that's what this line does. And then we need to set the edited item, which will be as items dot. And here we use the find function, which goes through each item with the ID that fits the item ID. So what is this here? Another thing. So this find function allows us to find a particular item inside of a list. The list that we're looking through is our items list, so the S items list, so basically our shopping list items list. And what this find does is it finds the item that we are currently editing, because that's the one that we get here. We get the item, and here we say the item ID, that's the ID of the item that we're currently editing, should be equal to the ID of the item that we are comparing it to. And when we find the item that has the same ID, at that point, we want to store the item that we found in edited item, so that we know which of the items inside of that list, of the list of 10, 15 items, is the one that we're currently looking at and that we are currently editing. So now that we have the edited item, we can safely unpack it. And how do we safely unpack this item? By using the let function that we covered in the last video. So the let function allows us to get the shopping item, which is the edited item. So edited item could be empty, right? Maybe there's just no item existing. And then we're just going to take it name and set that to be the edited name and it quantity. So like so, quantity to be the edited quantity. We're basically saying that the item that we have edited should now have the name that we entered into the text field and the quantity that we entered into the text field. That's what's happening here. So this is very complicated what's going on here, but basically this is the code that you need to reuse whenever you want to modify items inside of a list and you don't know which item it is, and that's why you need to use this approach where you find out which item it is and then you need to edit that particular item and take the shopping item, which is the edited item, and assign values to it that you earlier acquired, which is the edited name, which is the one that we are passing when we are clicking on the edit button. And if you look at it, our shopping item, you see it gives us a string and an int, and these two we are using. So now that will be for our shopping item editor. And now for the shopping list item, it's a little less complicated. So we can just pass the item. And then what should happen once we click on the edit button, and we also have this other button that we didn't implement yet. So once we click on the edit button, we're going to say s items should be as items dot map. And here we just copy it, copy is editing, and we're setting it to it ID equals item ID. So this here, while we are looking at item ID, which is of type integer, because we have this double equal sign, we're basically comparing. So we're comparing the item to the shopping list element that is passed to us inside of this map. And then we're comparing those IDs with each other. And if they are true, then editing is true. Otherwise, editing will be false. So that's basically what it says. which is to simplify what is happening on a higher level. When we are clicking on the edit button here, we're clicking on this edit button. How do we know which edit button we clicked? Did we click the one here for the house, or did we click the edit button for the 1, 2, 3? We don't know. Once we click on it, we need a way to find that out. And the way to find out which item we clicked on is exactly that here. Okay, so once we clicked on this item, we find it out by using this approach here, this line. So finding out which item we are editing, and then, well, and changing its is editing boolean to true is basically what we're saying. And then what should happen in the onDelete function? So this is the onEdit click. And then here we have this second thing, which is our onDelete click. So let me actually see. It's not this one, it's here, onDelete click. So what should happen there? Well, there we just say delete the current item from items. So as items is going to be the old as items minus the item that we're currently looking at. That's it. So now shopping list item doesn't need to execute anything. I can get rid of those curly brackets. And that would be it. Let me put that into a separate line also. So basically here we have what happens when we click on edit. So we find out which item we are editing, and we are setting the value of is editing for that item to be true so that it can display as shopping item editor, because now the item is being edited. And otherwise, when we click on delete, then we just get rid of the item that we are, well, that we get from our list that we clicked on, so to speak. Okay. Let's actually test that and let's run our application. So there we have our UI. Let's click on add item. Let's add a mouse with one element. Okay, let's add another item. And let's say we want to buy a car. Let's add another item. Let's say we want to buy flowers for our wife. And maybe we want to buy 2. So let's see what happens when we add it. Let's save. So you see the saving has worked. Now let's go ahead and delete the car. You see the car is now gone. Let's say we bought the mouse. Let's get rid of the mouse. We see the mouse is gone as well. So basically our application now works. So that's pretty much it. We have done what we were supposed to do, what we came for. Now there is one last thing that I want to do in this video, and that is you can see that these 2 buttons, they are on the very end of the row, and that's something that I want to achieve as well. So I'm inside of shopping list item, and here I can add another parameter. So we have this rounded corner, we have the border, okay, comma, and then I'm going to use the horizontal arrangement to be arrangement space between. Okay, now let's rerun this application, and now it should put it all the way to the end of the screen. And I can tell you guys, this is it for this app. Congratulations. It's crazy how far we've gotten. So let's say house and 1 and add, and there we are. So now it is on the right hand side as it was supposed to be. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's jump to the next one where we're going to summarize the day.